I have too many Indiana Jones movies. Okay, so welcome back to my Steven Spielberg movie reviews. So now we're talking about my favorite Steven Spielberg movies. Indiana Jones! The Indiana Jones movies and the Star Wars movies were basically the two movie-like franchises that really got me into movies and movie making. It was mostly Star Wars, but Indiana Jones had a lot to do with it too. Those were the movies that just made me want to go, man, I want to do this. I want to make movies. Like when I was 8 years old, I was like obsessed with Indiana Jones. When I was like 7 to 10, I was mostly obsessed with Star Wars. But right around when the new movie came out, I was pretty obsessed with it. So yeah, when I was younger, it was Star Wars and Indiana Jones, mostly Star Wars, but Indiana Jones is a close second. Actually, hold on. My 8th birthday party was an Indiana Jones themed party. We did little games and stuff where we had to get through like the booby traps and whatever. It was pretty cool actually. So anyways, we're talking about the first Indiana Jones movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark. This one's probably my favorite. And it's my favorite of the Spielberg movies. So, yeah. It's probably my favorite Spielberg movie that I've seen so far. And I've seen most of them. So yeah, Raiders of the Lost Ark is just a fantastic movie. It's nothing groundbreaking or like amazing. A lot of it was actually kind of inspired by, stuff that Spielberg watched as a kid, and a lot of it is actually paying homage to it. So it's nothing like new, but yet it was just done so well that it's just so great. Because, it didn't have to be any, amazing story with amazing characters or something like that. It just had to be a really fun movie, and that's really what it did. It just made so well. The action scenes in these movies, not just this one, but all the movies, they're all very intense. I think Steven Spielberg is like the king of like intense movie scenes. He really knows how to make a scene intense. Because there's countless scenes in Indiana Jones, stuff in Jurassic Park, Jaws. So he knows how to make something intense, and he does a really good job with it. So it's just the way they're done is so great. From the music, John Williams, the music that he does already makes the scene more intense than it already was. If the practicality, it's not a bunch of CGI crap, or it feels real, like when he's on the truck, that's all real stuff, so it feels more real, gets more intense. And I completely lost that last thing I was gonna say. Oh yeah, and the fact that he's actually vulnerable. Like there's a point where he's actually in a spot where he might lose, like in the truck scene when he's thrown out of the truck, dragging behind the truck. Things like that make the movie so much more intense than just, a bunch of guys running around punching each other on a green screen, with some generic score. So I think that's what makes these movies so good. Because they really tried, and they really tried to make these movies as good as they could. And you can really feel that throughout all the movies, not even the last one that's not particularly that good, you at least feel that they really tried and they were having fun with these movies. They weren't just like, even with the sequels, they weren't just like, let's make this sequel so we can make a bunch of money. Like Harrison Ford even said, he wanted to do another movie because they're just so much fun. It wasn't about the money, and I think that's, how something about movies these days that they kind of forget. They're all just setting up, the next movie to set up for another movie. Kind of like the Marvel movies. They don't really rely on being good movies. They rely on setting something else up to make more money. Another thing that they just kind of forget about these days is this movie it's a simple movie. There's a guy, he needs to go get this ark, keep it away from the Nazis, and that's it. I'm not saying every movie needs to be dumbed down or anything like that, but a simple action movie doesn't need to be, some guy needs to get this serum to create a bomb that will go off at this certain time, but only if it's leap year and he has to press this button and another button, and that will cause all the food in the world to blow up, and then he'll have all the only food left in the world to, just some crazy random plot, that you can't even follow. These movies, they just keep it simple, It's an action movie, It doesn't need to be some crazy plot, So, and I think that's the reason why they're just such fun movies, is you don't need to remember, okay, that one guy did that one thing there, and that kind of connects to this. Like Batman. Batman vs Superman was too complicated. It was so all over the place. It didn't need to be that complicated. But a movie like this is just... I'm sorry if I'm rambling in this movie review. I'll try to keep that less in the other reviews. But they need to make more movies like Raiders of the Lost Ark. As Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones is perfect. I couldn't see anybody else playing him. He does such a good job at it too. He's great. Marion, she was also a really good character too. She's very likable. The villain in the movies, they're pretty crazy and everything, but you're like, that's somebody you really want them to beat. You don't want them to succeed, and you want Indiana Jones to stop them. This is also probably the best looking Indiana Jones movie when it comes to cinematography and everything. The introduction of Indiana Jones in the very beginning, where he comes out of the shadow, everything like that. His big shadow when he meets Miriam, stuff like that. That is really cool looking. Also, there's not a ton of cuts, especially in the action scenes. A lot of movies, they just cut too much. A lot of people complained about the shaky cam in the movies, and that is annoying. But I think a bigger issue for me is when they cut. They'll throw a punch, and then they'll cut to the guy getting punched, and then they'll cut to him going back, and then cut to the other guy going to go do another punch, and then they'll cut to that punch, and it's within 10 seconds there's 5 cuts. It's no, these movies are nice because they only cut when they really need to, so I think that's really great. He really shows the faces a lot, which I think is kind of cool because you really can feel a lot of their emotion just by showing their face. The sound effects in these movies are really kind of cheesy sound effects, but yet I think they kind of did it on purpose, and I think it kind of still works because they are kind of paying homage to those older TV serials and things, and so I think that it kind of works. So anyways, Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark is a great movie. If you haven't seen it, why? What's wrong with you in your life? You are one deprived child. I'm going to give Raiders of the Lost Ark a 10. You have done well. Anyways, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.